Hi, it's Tamara here for Elvi Studio with the colouring tutorial for the gorgeous image Eva. I'll be doing some Copic colouring of Eva and then a card making tutorial. So let's get started with the colouring. I'll be doing some ink blending, and I've grabbed a piece of white cardstock, and I'll be using Blueprint Sketch and black soot and the brick stencil from MFT. So I'm just starting with the Blueprint Sketch, and I'm just blending up to make it go, like basically blend into the white cardstock. So I'm kind of dabbing off any excess ink on my glass mat, and then just working it off and just releasing a bit of tension as I get higher so that it fades out nicely. So I'm just working in circular motions to get a nice smooth blend and just working those colors together. So now that that panel has dried, I'm just going to use my stitched rectangle die just to cut that out so that we've got a perfect background for our card. So I've taken that to the die cutting machine now and just popped that out of that die. And I've grabbed a nail file, and I just get rid of any kind of little bits of paper that can sometimes sit on the outside of once you've die cut an image. I'll also be using the Hello die and shadow die from MFT. So I'm cutting out the shadow die from black cardstock and the Hello from white. You could just use this by itself, just with the white on black, but I wanted it to match in with my ink blended brick stencil. So I'm using the Blueprint Sketch and the black soot again, and these little brushes from Pink Fresh Studio, just to put a small amount of ink to match in with that brick stencil stenciling I did on the card front. So just a small amount of black soot at the bottom, and we'll just set that aside to dry while we work on our sub-sentiment. I'm using a sub-sentiment from the Glam Fund stamp set from MFT, and I've grabbed a piece of scrap black cardstock from my stash. I'm just prepping this stamp as I've never used it before, so giving it a rub kind of gets rid of any impurities that might be on it. And of course I'm using my powder, my anti-static powder tool, just to make sure that no powder gets where I don't want it. I've grabbed my Versa watermark ink, and as always I like to double stamp it so I've got a nice impression for my heat embossing powder to stick to. I've got my folded piece of A4 paper that I like to use to catch any excess white embossing powder or any embossing powder I'm using. So I give that a double sprinkle and tap any excess off, and just use that folded piece of white printer paper to get all that excess powder back into my bottle. I've preheated my heat gun, and I like to go to the back first to get rid of any stray particles, and then go to the front, and I find it just works a lot better. Now that that's dry, I like to just get rid of any excess powder from the powder tool with the cloth, and I've grabbed out a sentiment strip die from MFT to cut out this little sub-sentiment. So I'm just lining that up, and I'm going to kind of cut it down so it is a little bit longer than what I want. So I'll run it through initially down one end and run that back through. And now to get it to be the perfect size that I need, I'll just pull that out and then just move that sentiment banner down to the opposite end, leaving the same amount of space as what it says near the stay end. So it's just got a little bit of a gap there. So just push that down so you've got the same amount of black cardstock at the end where the beautiful is. Pop that back in the machine. You only need to run it through that end portion because we're just chopping off that end section. And now you've got the perfect size sentiment strip. I do apologize for this little black portion in there. This app that I'm using, Video Up, can be a little bit awful. So yeah, I do apologize for that black portion. So I'm now attaching the Hello die to this shadow die. So we'll just get that all lined up so that it's perfectly centered. And I've already pre-cut a black card base, and I'll have all the measurements in the description box below, and I've glued our front panel onto that. I'm just using some 3D foam to get my image attached. I'm just going to prop her up a little bit. So I'm just strategically placing the foam tape in various spots on the back of her just to keep her nice and supported. And just put a couple of pieces on her arms. And I'll also grab out some little black foam squares that I've got to go on the back of our black portions, which is the sub-sentiment and the hello, and that way it should blend in nicely with those black pieces of cardstock. So we'll get them all attached. And then off camera I'll just pull off all the release paper. So that's all pulled off now. So we'll get our hello sentiment using our tweezers to get that attached and nice and centered at the top of our card. Just making sure that that's straight before giving it a good press down. I'll do the same with the Stay Beautiful, just putting that sub-sentiment just under that hello. And then we'll pop Eva on the front, just down the bottom. And this is the finished card project for today. Eva is so beautiful and I had so much fun coloring her up. I love her short hair and I wish I was as experimental as her and color my hair blue one day. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button and leave a comment. And if you'd like to see any future videos, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.